Hello everyone, it is me, Substandard Gamer here today, and today I'm going to try and show you the method I've discovered on Happy Birds to make it just that little bit easier. Okay, and you're probably wondering, why are we on Microsoft Paint staring at a picture of Happy Birds? Well, I'll tell you. I figured that this would be the best and the easiest way for me to try and explain this method to you, as opposed to showing you whilst trying to play Happy Birds and talk at the same time. I may become distracted in doing that. So, I'm going to explain on here, okay? This method works, it just takes a bit of practice, but the method works. So here is your bird, okay? He's an evil birdie now. Evil birdie. Okay, so here's your bird. Obviously, he flaps. Flappy, 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 flappy. Okay, so what you want to do is, even at the first opening you get of the tubes, I'm going to call it an opening. Even at the first opening, you want to line it up so you get to exactly the middle of the tube. And exactly in the middle of the opening, exactly in the middle, this is where you want to flap. So you want to flap in this opening here. I know I should have coloured that in, but you want to flap in this opening here. And then this, judge it, as long as the holes, the next hole is relatively similar. Obviously, if it's like right up here somewhere, you're going to have to flap several times to get to that midpoint in between the hole. But as long as every single hole you get to, as long as you flap exactly in the middle of that hole, you should be okay. So this is setting you up for something that I call a one bounce travel, or a one flap travel. This is going to set you up, if you flap here, this is going to set you up to fall in the middle of these two, so exactly the centre of the space in between the next tube and the previous tube you just flap through. So it's going to set you up to the middle here. This isn't precise, it's not precise drawing, it's just trying to explain it, okay? So this is the second stage that you want to flap at. Every tube and then the next tube has 3 stages to it, I think. It has a first flap in between the centre of the hole, it has a second flap in between the 2 centres of the tubes, the centre of the 2 tubes, even should I say, sorry, I'm very terrible at explaining things. And then, if you flap here, it should set you up to flap in the centre of the next tube again. So it should set you up like that. And it doesn't matter how elevated or how you know, the difference in the tubes, the difference in the holes, that's what I mean. It doesn't matter if one hole's up here and one hole's down there, it's the same principle. As long as you can get from here up to the centre of a hole, well, wherever your last hole is to your next hole, as long as you can get in the centre, just flap in the centre of every single hole. That's what you need to do. Flap in the centre of every single hole, just get there in the middle as best you can. But if the holes are relatively similar, and it should only take 1 bounce, but obviously this method will become, eventually, like after maybe 6 or 7 holes, this method will become a bit, you know, like, it might lag a bit, so you might end up having to flap here instead of there, because obviously we can't flap in the centre every single time. That would just be weird and superhuman. But this method mostly works, even if it's just to start you out. As long as you practice this method, then it should help you, and it did help me. My high score is what, 59? I mean, I know it's not a great achievement, but it's a change from me dying on the 3rd hurdle, or the 3rd hole, every single time until I discovered this method, and it got me from 3 to 13, and then to 30, and then to 50, and to 59. It's just a really good method that I found works for me. It may not work for everyone, but here you go, I've put it up, I've tried my best to explain it. And if you need further explanation, just tell me in the comments and I will try my best to further explain the method. But yeah, so that was basically the method I came up with, just that right there. And Well, yeah, thanks for listening, and just tell me if the method works in the comments below. This has been Substandard Gamer. I'll see you later. Thank you for listening.